What's up, guys? NJ Slot Guy here for my first ever of a ton of interviews that I'm going to be bringing to you guys with some of the best influencers, some of the top influencers in this country, okay? And for my first interview, and this will have a little backstory to it, I know you know it already, is Tim, the Big Payback. And Tim, thank you very much for being my first interview.
It's
of
great
course.
Being here, the first interview, I'm really on.
And can you please tell them why?
Tell them why. I met this guy. He reached out to me a number of years ago. He's like, "Hey, can I interview you for a podcast?" And we did it, and we've been great friends ever since.
I can honestly say I had no clue. I clearly have no clue what I'm doing now either, as I have microphone malfunctions, trust me, which makes this story even better.
Even better.
Even better because of everything that we went through over the past couple days. So an itinerary of no sleep, but you know what?
We're doing an interview now, combined sleep. What do we have, 7 hours between us?
Maybe, guys. And they will all know that from watching the videos that I post, because I always say what time it is. And I'm like, hey guys, here I am, it's 4:30 in the morning. So Tim, for those that don't know you, tell us your channel, where you're from, give us a little background, and then we'll get rocking and rolling here.
A little bit of background. So my channel is the Big Payback slot machine videos. And I've had my channel over 10 years. So I've been doing this 10 years. Started out completely as an experiment, and then it just grew and grew and grew. And it's been crazy, and I've got to meet so many people. We've traveled so many states. We've done so many cool things. We even got on a private jet one time for a project, right? That was crazy, man, even with this guy, yeah.
I have a feeling that we are going to officially get into that as some of the best stories. And you can confirm what I just said to you an hour ago. I said, you know what one of the best times I had on this trip was? What did I say to you? Do you remember? It was sitting next to you at dinner.
It was sitting next to dinner last night. You know, these are the moments that you just can't plan,
no,
right?
You can't. You can't. They're absolutely priceless. And in a world where everything costs us money, clearly, being a content creator, it's very nice to have those priceless moments. And I do, in fact, treasure them and love them.
I mean, people don't really realize. I mean, we work constantly at this. How many hours per week? It's like, people say, hey, you know, it's the easiest job in the world. Well, I mean, it's 60 plus hours a week of easy, right? Easy? I don't know, it's easy. So for us to take some time out last night and actually have a good dinner and talk with people, it was awesome.
It really was a great time, and I have many of those memories with you, and we will hopefully get into that. I mean, even though I have a bunch of stuff I want to ask too, because you know what, as many followers as we do all have, there's so many people that don't know about us yet and have no clue about what we even do. Which, you know, brings me to my next thing. When it comes to this content creation, what is your biggest obstacle?
My biggest obstacle for this sort of content creation. So, all the videos on my channel, I like to have something that is really, really interesting. And of course, when you're playing a slot machine, well, I mean, interesting usually means like winning something big. Now, sadly, I can't control when that happens. So, you play a lot. You hope for something really cool to happen. And then when it does, it's like, oh, this is going to be a good video. People are going to really enjoy it. And I'll tell you, yeah, it can be a challenge sometimes. I mean, anybody who's been to the casino before, you don't win all the time, right? Right. You don't win all the time.
And touching on that, what is your biggest win ever?
My biggest win, it's a number I will never forget. $33,175.
I need more. Tell me on what?
It was crazy. It was on the original Zeus slot machine. I remember the day. I had to be over my brother's and, you know, maybe an hour, but hey, I'll stop and run my free play. And I had, you know, a nice amount of free play. And I'm like, okay, so I'll play some high limit Zeus, $45 a spin. And I think I had, maybe 150 in free play, you know, a couple spins. And I get the bonus, like half on free play, half on like, you know, $20 or whatever. Right. And I'm in for 45 a spin. And I'm like, wow, I did a video of it, and it was one of my first videos ever. I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even react during it, you know? And the screen filled up with the Zeus and Wild, like $20,000, and then it almost did it again. And before you know it, I'm looking at $33,175. I couldn't believe it.
Where was this at?
So this is now at Jack Thistledown Racino, and prior to that, I believe it was the Horseshoe Cleveland, or oh gosh, what was it? But right now the casino is Jack Thistledown Racino.
All right, Tim. So with that being said, and your biggest win, yes, is that what you love most about slots? Is that big chase to get that big win?
The big chase to get the big win. I mean, I certainly love to play, and you know what? I love the ritual of like traveling to a new casino, finding new games to play. I mean, I love games. I love unlocking their secrets and seeing what makes a great game. I mean, when you think about it, like these machines, they take your money over the long term. And I mean, nobody likes to lose money, but if you can design a game and there's art involved, there's science involved, and you can do it in a way where it's entertaining and you have a chance in the short term, I mean, it's a cool thing, right? So yeah, I've always liked taking trips, finding new games to play, and just making an adventure out of it. And it's always been fun.
What is a good alternative for people maybe that can't get to the casino, or maybe they're just lazy, they don't want to go to a casino, or maybe they're too far away from a casino?
Yes.
Would you recommend doing an online gaming, a sweepstakes to save yourself money? How do you feel about that?
So this is a really interesting question. I never played online prior to the past year, but maybe about 6-7 months ago, I started playing on what are known as sweepstakes sites. And these are sites where you can purchase what they call like gold coins, and then you can receive sweepstakes coins, and you can actually redeem the sweepstakes coins for cash prizes. And what I found out was, I mean, the games they're super fun. And a lot of the games online, not to get too technical or too into the weeds.
Go, yeah.
But you're playing a game in a casino, and maybe over the long run, you'll lose 10 or 15%. Online, many times it's just 4 or 5%. And what that is called is the RTP of the game, the return to player.
I love it, and I have to honestly say, just because you did that, I was going to ask you something else, but because you just did the return to player thing, I do have to admit, myself being in this for 6 years now, from seeing what I knew about slot machines and what I knew in general to now, and I can't believe that, and a lot of that is thanks to you. Like you made me look at this as a creator and appreciate the brands of the machines. Whereas and I'm sure most of you walk around, you don't care who made the machine. Yeah. And now, like I was talking to Sam and Chris, shout out to SC Slots, yeah, and I said to him, "Oh, what kind of machine is this? What is this?" And I looked at him, he started laughing. I go, before a creator, did you do anything like, you ever look and go, hey, who makes this machine? Like, which one makes this machine? You have made me appreciate this a lot more. I'm learning more because of you every day, and I think you have like a title in this community to educate a lot of people that don't know about this. So that's why I was asking you about the sweepstakes stuff, because I've seen you do it. You're incredible at it. I think it's a good alternative if you don't want to get out, if you don't want to go anywhere. And like you said, the sweepstakes thing, you can play with sweepstakes and return them to coin, redeem them for cash and stuff like that. I'm not well versed in this yet, but Tim is teaching me just like he's teaching you. So,
I mean, what's really interesting about like many of the games online, like sweepstakes games, it's not that unusual to win 100x your play, 200x, 500x.
Tell them about the win that you just had that you're talking about.
Not more than 3 weeks ago, I played the equivalent of $3.75 and won the equivalent of $15,000. And it was crazy, right? And when does that happen on the floor? It does, but it happens more frequently online. I mean, because, hey, online play doesn't require buildings and physical machines, so of course they can return more to the player.
Would you put that $15,000 win as one of your top moments in playing slots?
I hadn't thought of that.
Time to think of it now,
it's
right?
Time to think of it. Yeah.
What do you think?
That may be from playing slots. I believe that's my second biggest win.
Your second biggest win. So the Zeus that you just told us about, we now know.
175.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the 15,000. Yeah.
See, and that is an incredible story, and you sharing that with others now opens their eyes to it and see. A lot of people say it's a scam, and I'm sure there's tons of stuff going on out there. I get it, but you're a trustworthy name that I follow. If I see you doing something, I know that you put in the work that goes to it. With that being said, how does your audience that you've retained over the past 10 years, how's your audience retention? How do they feel about you playing it? Are they receptive?
It's a really good question because, this is something that's been completely new for me too. I've only started doing this maybe, probably about 7-8 months ago. And prior to that, I was starting from square one. And it took me, once I started to get into it, I realized, hey, I like these games. And then I like how they play. I like how they're designed.
Yeah.
And so people just don't know. But when my audience started to see the games that I'm playing and the wins that are happening. So there are some that are like, hey, I would never do that. But you know what? This is only going to grow and grow and grow.
Absolutely.
And grow.
I agree with you.
And if you like to play and you're playing on the floor, like, hey, it took me 7-8 months to get my second biggest win when I've been playing, 15, 20 years. Think about that for a second, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that just this talk alone gives people a little bit more education on it. And I can honestly urge you to step out of your comfort zone. And I think you and I can both agree to this too. We've had millions of phone conversations of how many emails we get, what's a scam, what's not a scam, right? And we were very weary of certain things at first, whatever it may be. But I can say, get an alternative out there. You don't want to go to your, local, or you're just sitting in your yard. Maybe you don't want to go anywhere. You're being lazy. Stay home, throw on one of these things. But that's enough about that. Let's take a left turn here because we're going to mess with emotions. Ready? What is your absolute, in 10 years of having the channel,
yes,
online or not, everything I ask you pertains to online gaming too, that you do, okay? Which is your number one worst moment of all time?
My worst moment of all time? My worst moment of all time was being a creator on YouTube was when I got an email from YouTube and saying, hey, you're demonetized.
Tell me more about that, how that happened and what you went through. I'm very aware of this as well.
Yeah, as a creator, so we earn by posting videos and people watch the videos and ads are played and we earn from those ads.
Of course.
Now, mistakes happen. Technical issues happen, and to make a long story short, there was a technical issue that happened with YouTube. They were aware of it, but you know what? It took them, 30, 60 days to fix it, so I lost all revenue at that point, and there was no guarantee that I would be able to get remonetized from everything I built. So it's kind of ironic that I started doing YouTube as a way to be completely self-sufficient. But any creator on YouTube, we're all dependent on the platform. And if the platform goes down, or there's a glitch, or something happens where maybe YouTube decides, hey, they don't want anything related to gaming going forward, it's over. It's over. And getting certain emails and warnings, those days, they just, they paralyze you. They are just truly disheartening.
All right, ready? And we're not going to stay here because I don't want to be negative. So, ready? Because you've been with me before, and we'll get into that whole ordeal too, and how things can just go 0 to 100, 100 to 0. We don't rest. We're going through. Okay. So with that being said, the worst. What is your number one best moment being a creator? Now you told me your top jackpot, so let's scratch that. Unless that really is your top moment, and you have a story leading up to it, that's fine. Do that with me, But what is your best moment? Like, I know you mentioned the private jet before. Like, that's absolutely a top moment for me. But is that your best moment? And if so, expand on it. Otherwise, what is your number one moment as a creator in a casino? Talk to me.
best moment as a creator. You know that there have been so many, and I'm super grateful. Like, I'll walk into a casino and people come up to me and say, "Hey Tim, I watch your videos," and I've met the nicest people, and every time it surprises me, and every time I'm just so grateful. Certainly one of the best moments was one that you described. So we were involved with a documentary.
Yeah.
And we flew into Vegas, and then we got to be on a private jet, and we were filmed, and we played in the casino, and we went out to local restaurants, and so we were all part of this documentary. And I don't know about you, John, but I've never been on a private plane before.
I sat there. I remember coming home from that. That private jet, and like, I stayed in Vegas another night, and I remember getting on the plane to go home, and that hit me so hard because I came from a neighborhood of people where you just end up working for whoever that you know for the rest of your life, and that's what it was. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I was on a private jet. I know there's nobody I know that has been on a private jet, but that was just an awesome detail of that trip. Give me more. I want more. We were there for 2 days, but we did a lot. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, hey, it was all about the people, right? I mean, we got to do something, you know, as you mentioned, I would have never imagined when I started doing this that I would be involved with such an awesome group, you know, doing this whole experience, being filmed, and meeting people. I mean, we had an awesome meet and greet where everybody came around and they're like, "Hey Tim, hey John, you know, we love this, we love what you do, we love to see you." And it was just, it was a magical few days.
I got a real taste of reality that, on that trip, because I was like our audience, I know for a fact, even if I see one person on a trip that I go on, I feel so important, and that trip was like, I guess I really am something, or at least can turn into and maybe be something if this didn't work out. We have the potential, obviously, we were there, It's not like we just had a rich friend that flew us out to Vegas on a private jet. That's all people have. So, okay, so that's your best moment, and I have to honestly say, not only is that one of my best moments of all time as a creator, but that's one of my best moments with you as well. Yeah. And I have had tons of times. Now, take Grayton out of it. What is one of the most memorable moments that you've had with me?
Memorable moments. Oh, wow.
I know. Yeah, go ahead. You have a good time with that, but that's not easy.
You know what? I do remember one time.
Yeah, see, that's why.
Actually, we've had a lot, man. We've had a lot.
I want to hear it. Don't get me emotional.
So let's go over one.
Don't get me emotional.
So I love Atlantic City.
Yeah.
I
know.
I love Atlantic City. I'm from Cleveland.
That's right.
And you're a Jersey guy, right?
Jersey guy.
What are you? Maybe an hour or so outside of Atlantic City?
I am exactly 2 hours and 10-minute drive.
2 hours and 10-minute drive.
Yeah, with the usual.
And I took this trip, and we had it planned. You were like, "Hey, I'm going to do this event in Atlantic City. Hey, Tim, you going to come down?" And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, of course I'm going to come down. You know why? Because you had done an event before, and it was fun. And I just remember, man, you know how to throw a party. And having fun is important. I just remember, man, I had a blast. Of course, you're doing another event. Of course I'm going. So, I'm driving. I drive to Atlantic City. From Cleveland, maybe 7 hours, 7.5, whatever it is. No problem. Get in. And then it starts to snow.
You thought the story was over.
You thought it was over. No,
it's just beginning.
It's just beginning. And it keeps on snowing. I mean, it snows so much they closed the Atlantic City. It's
true story.
And I'm on the boardwalk, and you see like the Ripley's sign, and it's covered, and you could barely even walk.
Yeah. And
you're not in town. And I'm like, man, how are you even going to make it for your own event? It's not going to happen. And I'm getting text messages. Oh, gosh, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can make it. And then I get
looking good.
Then I get a tap on the shoulder, and I'm like, yeah, there's this guy. How did it happen?
I put my life on the line that day.
And I don't know how you made it, man. It must have been treacherous, but you made it. And we had an awesome time, an awesome event. And, we made it work.
We really did, and like that just scratches the surface, obviously, of a ton of moments that we've had together, which we will, cover at another time. I'm sure this won't be our first interview, but with the first interview stuff, with Tim being this whole, I was going to start a podcast thing, but I had no idea what I was doing. But my thought process when that whole thing started was, as much as I was a creator at that point, I was still a fan. I was still more of a fan than a creator. I was still getting my feet wet, let's say, and I had this idea of, what do I want? I want more of who I watch. Like, I want to know more about the Big Payback, and that's why I had that whole idea in my head. And then it just, I didn't have the right sound equipment. We didn't even think of FaceTimes and, StreamYards and stuff like that. So, I just completely went another way with it and just kept posting incredible, memorable content.
And what is interesting is that none of us are experts in anything.
Right.
When we started our channels, I was from square one. I didn't know anything about social media. I'd never even made a Facebook post, being of a certain age, right?
Yeah.
And it's all been from scratch. It's all been, hey, let's figure it out. Let's do something fun. Let's do something creative. And that's what we've been doing. And you know what? There's a certain authenticity.
Got it. Yeah, you nailed it.
And people can appreciate that, and they like it. I don't know, the best way to do YouTube or the best way, hey, I don't even know about this interview, but I do know how to be myself.
Yeah, and that's all you want. That's all I need you to
I'm
be.
never not going to be myself, right?
What are your 3 favorite casinos across the country?
Casinos. Wow. And I'm not just saying this.
You're
I'm not just saying this. I think I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it.
I think I'm going to do it.
Do it.
We are here in Las Vegas at Durango Casino Resort. And this place is awesome. We just had an incredible event over the past 2 days. And we went to the pool and we were hanging out in the cabanas here. And it was beautiful. It was great to take a little break. The gaming on the floor is such a variety. Many of the strip casinos, people don't realize this, but you go to Las Vegas, on the strip, most of the casinos they're almost clones of each other. They have the same games, and they phone it in. They don't have to be really unique. Because people come in, they fly in, and they go, hey, I'll be in Vegas, and then play for a few days, and that's it. This being an off-strip casino, they have games you don't really find on the strip. They have a great floor. They have great food. The room is fantastic. I'm liking it. I'm loving it here at Durango.
That was a great explanation, especially when it comes to the games. That was a very educational way to put it. Incredible. Okay, now, is that your number 1?
Number 1, I have to say, back in my hometown of Cleveland, Jack Thistledown Racino.
That's number 1.
Jack Thistledown, they're always getting new games. The people there are great. They've treated me well over the years. Hey, we gotta love our locals, right?
I can absolutely confirm that. It stinks that I've only been out there once, and trust me, we'll change that at some point. But one of my most memorable trips too has been Ohio, and it was because of Thistledown, that whole experience. It was just awesome. A big shout out to those people. Okay, so we got Jack Thistledown, we got Durango. I need one more, Tim.
One more. I'm gonna dig back a little bit.
3 is tough, by the way.
3 is
a very tough number.
And hey, a lot of places they have their. Many places have their good points depending on what you are doing. But you know what? I'll say an answer that may surprise some people. I used to go to Greektown in Detroit. People are like, hey, Tim, Detroit? Guess what? I love Detroit.
Greektown, Detroit.
Greektown in Detroit. The Greektown district, I always have fun, man. I always have fun.
Will you take me there?
Absolutely. People are like, hey, Detroit, when you're going to Detroit? I'm like, yeah.
Done.
You know what? Every time. My wife and I, we go up to Detroit. It's a great time. Great food, great gaming, just fun.
Okay, great. See, I love the way you explain things. That's why I like that I'm asking you these. So let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Top 3 Vegas casinos. Durango, number 1.
Top 3 Vegas casinos. Oh, wow.
Is Durango number 1, or is it just in the top 3?
I'm really liking Durango right now.
How about I take the pressure off of you, like I didn't do with the top 3, and say, just give me your favorite 3. You don't have to rank them 1, 2, and 3. Just give me your 3 favorite Vegas ones.
I will say the Venetian is
the Venetian,
is super
Durango.
Great. Yeah, Venetian, Durango.
Give me one. You got one left.
One left.
One left.
Hey, you know what? Last time I was in town, I was at the Rio, and they renovated it, and they're continuing to renovate it, and I had a really good time there.
See, now, only because of Tim, and even if I was not your friend and I was just a fan, I would check out Rio. And I've been in Vegas. I'm in Vegas right now. Well, guess what? I will be here again. And the next time I come here, I'll make sure I check it out just based on your recommendation. With that being said, do you do that with your audience? Do you tell them certain games to play and certain features? So what are your top 3 favorite slot machines of all time?
So this is
you don't have to rank them, but I would like you to.
Oh, my God.
That's tough. You want to talk about tough?
All the time.
Let's hear it.
And you know
Let's
what?
hear it.
I don't even know. You might have stumped me.
I don't want to stump you. I want to hear it because you're going to explain these games.
I'll try and answer. So, love this. So, I got to put it out there. The latest Huff and Even More Puff. It just came out. It's a great game. It's a fun game. And I'm just having a ball with it. I streamed it for like 3 hours this past Saturday. And, I got one of the things that you want to get, a full screen of the mansion, mansions and the mansion feature. And everybody was going wild online. It was just great game.
I played that game now multiple times. The first time I played it, my experience was, I think I texted us, and in 3 minutes, I lost way more money than I should have in one session. No bonuses, but I've seen the gameplay. I get the draw. Of course, it's a game that's getting, more interactive. Another wheel now. You're just improving it, which is awesome. Okay, so Huff and Even More Puff. It's got to be Zeus. One of them's got to be Zeus.
Oh, wow.
One of them's got to be Zeus.
Hey, we
Give us Zeus.
Zeus will always have a special place in my heart.
right?
In my heart. But no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do it.
I respect you for that move, Tim, and that's why I did it, because I had a feeling you weren't going to say it. Let's keep it rocking.
I will have to say another choice in the top 3 would have to be Wonder 4 Boost Gold.
You have always, when we've walked by these machines, and if I was ever with you, have always pointed them out, have always asked me if I played them, and it's not something that I would play. However, I would sit there and play it next to you, my friend, because I have a good time playing slots with you.
So this game,
tell me, yes,
the mathematics of this game.
Let's hear it.
It boggles my mind. It's a masterpiece. So I'll tell you a story about this game.
Let's hear it. I want to hear these stories.
This game, for people who aren't familiar, you can play 4 games at once. You can play Buffalo Gold Collection. You can play Timberwolf Gold. You can play 5 Dragons Gold, and you can play Pompeii Gold. And you can play all the same game. You can mix and match. And the potential on the potential on them all is insane, but on Buffalo Gold, so here's a story, and it's a Vegas story.
Yes.
So I'm walking through the Excalibur, and I see this crowd of people around a game, and I'm like, wow, what's going on here? So somebody was playing Wonder 4 Boost Gold Buffalo. And the way the game plays is that you can boost up to the extreme games and have 8 games at once.
Okay.
This person was at $25,000.
Oh my God.
Insane, and they had like 25 free games left at a $12 bet. And to this day, I regret not seeing the outcome of this, because I have to think they would have ended up between maybe $50,000 to $75,000 on a $12 bet. What other game can you win that isn't like one of those progressive awards? I'm not even sure.
So you would say that's because I was going to follow up with one of these is even though that's one of your favorite games, do you think that game has some of the best features like in a casino for a game?
Well, I think when we're talking about like a non-progressive win, like a lot of games, hey, you can play like a Wheel of Fortune game or Mega Bucks and you could win like $1 million.
Yeah,
but it's like a lotto ticket, right? You just have to well, it's like a lotto ticket. You get it awarded all at once. It's not something that, you know, the win accumulates throughout a regular bonus game. That's not the case for the game I just described.
Right. Go ahead.
So it's like, I mean, just think about that. It's a game where you can get in, you could start small, and then just keep growing and growing and growing, and the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit, and it's just wild.
Guess what? You still owe me another one.
Oh, yeah, I was hoping you would forget about that.
Wasn't forget.
Oh my gosh! So I got I
Let's
got
hear it.
one, I got two. What is another game that I play? I play so many.
You really do. So that's why I feel like this is a hard question for you to answer, but I feel like we're going to get a good answer here out of you because, like, asking me that, Wonder Boost isn't even in my lineup. You know what I mean? So I feel like people will get more of an authentic top 3 here out of you. This is huge. This is huge. So you owe me one more. You owe these people one more.
You know, if I would have maybe 5 hours of sleep, it'd be easier to answer this question. but no. You know what? I'm going to throw a game out there.
Let's hear it.
I was streaming live last night.
I was there.
You were here.
I was there.
You were here. And I'm like, okay, let's find a game. And oh wow, they have a new version of this game called Mystery of the Lamb. And I go to the game and I'm like, okay, we start playing it and I start winning. And then before you know it, we do it all on. We do it all. We're live, and I win an awesome jackpot for close to $2,000.
Which I saw a picture of.
What a great, yeah. Well, and I text you. I think you're like you crashed out. I'm like, hey, I did it. And it happened. It's a really, really good game.
Did you happen to see at what time I hearted your text message? I think it was in the 4s. Was it in the 4s or 5s?
4s or 5s, man. And you probably you got up and you came down and played, right? I was
immediately.
You're a maniac. You come down 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and you just get it done, right?
Why not get it done? Because as you can see, a trip can take off or an itinerary can take off, and as a content creator, take it where I could sit upstairs, and I know myself, and I could roll around for an hour, complain, why am I not going back to sleep? And I just put an hour away. There goes, 5 videos. That's how I think about it, And I mean, you're by yourself in the casino 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I was going to ask you, because we go off on tangents, being a content creator, there's pros and there's cons. We've obviously covered the pros, and there's a lot more that we can, discuss. Cons is exactly what we're talking about right now. Not having a food schedule, a sleep schedule. Tell me about it. Tell me about what we just endured for 3 days, rolling into right now.
Yeah, people don't realize, I spend, 60 hours a week doing this. And as a content creator, you create content, and you have to create a lot of it. Every week, you are uploading videos, you are doing live streams. Tonight, hey, we're going to do this interview. If we have enough time, we're going to grab a bite to eat, and then I'm going live.
If we have enough time to eat, to do something that is majorly important for us to actually put this content out, we have to make sure and see if we have enough time to do that. And that's a reality. And it is a big con of being a content creator, which a lot of people don't see because our camera's off.
They don't see it because it's about, hey, you have to shoot the video, then you have to edit the video, you have to upload,
Absolutely.
You have to dot your I's and cross your T's, because if not, then hey, one of those really negative things might happen and it's over. And that's kind of a scary thought after you've invested so much time, so much money into doing this. And then I got to catch a plane at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
And we literally just did something all day on barely sleep. We did something all day, came back, to get all set up for an interview that we did not plan for. Yeah. A microphone failed on me, obviously, as I'm doing this, which we'll laugh about. And that's what this is, right?
Hey.
This is all about what you can't control, where it's all variables.
One of my favorite phrases that I really try to live by is, you just can't let perfect be the enemy of the good.
I love that line. You know what, Tim?
We can't.
You know what, Tim? On your Facebook, one of the things I love is your face like this, and the line in the line. So, people don't know, Tim puts up quotes every day. They're amazing quotes. Sometimes they're funny ones, with a little zing to it, like the Tim I know. And some are very educational, actually. With that being said, what is one tip that you would give an audience member, one of your biggest fans, what's one tip you would give them if going to the casino?
Absolutely. Hey, one thing I would say is, if you're not having fun, take a break. The casino will always be here because it is about having fun. I mean, take breaks often. Walk around the floor. But yeah, when it's not fun, I mean that is a major sign. Stop. Take a little break, because throwing money away when you're not having fun, playing if you're not, it
adds to it.
It makes no sense.
It
makes no sense.
It adds to it. I agree. All right, Tim. Well, with that being said, what is your mission and goal for all of this now that you're into it? Because if you ask a creator this every year, I absolutely think that the answer changes. Confirm that, right? Like 5 years ago, if I asked you that, do you have the same answer?
That's a good question.
Right?
Wow.
All the paths that open up for us.
That's forcing me to really dig back deep.
You would have never said, I'll be on a private jet headed to California.
No,
right.
I would have never expected it.
So, with that being said, go ahead.
With that being said, what is my goal? So, this is a business. And as a business, it has to earn. So I'll be very blunt and pragmatic about it. I invest 60 hours plus of my life into this. I'm not independently wealthy. So the only way I can do this whole project, this whole initiative, is if it earns. There's no other way. It's not a hobby.
It's not a hobby. You're right. I'm so glad you said that.
It's a business, and as such, it has to be treated like a business. That's not to say we can't have fun.
Correct.
Because it is a lot of fun a lot of the time. Not all of the time, but overall, I love doing this. I love it. And what's my goal? My goal is to keep doing it, keep growing the channel, keep adding new forms of content. Like one thing I'll be doing, I'll be launching Big Payback TV. What's Big Payback TV? I'm going to have specialized content that you'll be able to go to, and it'll be continually on. Things that you haven't seen before.
Love it.
And, I have over 3,000 videos on my channel. There is so much that's buried, and it's time to put it all together in a unique and fun way. And that's what you're going to have. So it's all about making the channel more successful, launching new content types, doing more of the live stream. I did a live stream challenge last week that really was interesting and fun, and it was a little bit crazy.
Tell me more.
So, I did what was known as the Big Slaughter channel.
Okay.
Yeah, so Big Slaughter, he's a channel out there, and he issued a challenge. He's like, hey, who can live stream the longest? And people are like, hey, Tim, you should do this. You should do this. And I'm like, well, what's the current record? The current record was 16 hours. And I'm like, 16 hours? What are you, crazy? Me live stream for 16 hours? My head will explode. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, what the heck? Why not give it a shot? I made it 13 hours. And I would have made it more than 16 if my equipment did give out.
I have a feeling that something's going to pop up over the next whatever, and like, we're going to rally and like accomplish this as a team and just be like, we're going to do, you know what, I'm not going to give anybody any ideas.
Yeah.
But anyways, going back on what you just said, if you are a new creator,
Yes.
you're a new creator in the space,
Yes.
what is a tip or a trick that you would give a new creator, maybe a hurdle that you had to jump over at one point that you can easily, make easier for someone else? What would you say?
Well, the first thing I'll say is, don't get into this if you're just thinking it's a quick way to get rich, because it's not. It's not for at least 99.9% of the people out there. You have to love it. You have to be authentic to yourself. I think people are going to see through if you try and act and be somebody or not. And that just isn't that's not appealing to people. That's not something that will work. So the tip I would say is, find your niche, embrace it, and be authentic.
Very, very, very well said. And hopefully any new creators out there, I would have to give, 5 years ago, I would give different advice to a creator than I would now, because everything changes and all of the hurdles and obstacles that, that we have hopped over. Now, should I...
I want to add one thing to...
Please, add to it. Add to it. Before you add to it, should I tell them to make the music louder? Can you imagine? But this is all part of it, and I embrace this stuff. I always do, and I make it fun and make it better for everybody else. So go ahead, you continue.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say was that like being a content creator is an awesome side hustle. It really is. But if it becomes your primary source of income, and it becomes if it becomes your job, like it is, this is under the umbrella of my company, and it's essentially my job.
Yeah, very.
You know what? Think long and think hard, because like anything, I mean, you can get fired from your job via the platform of YouTube or anything else. I mean, technical things happen, and it's kind of a scary proposition many times being a creator.
Like when you speak about certain things, sometimes you bring things to my mind that I'm not even thinking about. Like you see me like go off into the distance a little bit. I'm like, wow, that's a really good point, and that's what I respect, as a creator. And we've covered so much tonight, Tim. I want you to tell people who don't know you, that are going to subscribe, what they should expect when they come to the Big Payback.
Sure. So for my channel, it's all about variety. What I like to do, I love to play games. I love the games. And so I play different games every week. I try and unlock their secrets. So you're always going to see something new. You're going to see something different. I mean, there are literally hundreds of channels that are similar to ours, that are similar to ours, but we all have our unique take on things. And so for me, you're going to see me do live streams every week, both online and on the floor. You're going to see games you've never seen before, so you can see how they play and say, hey, I'm going to check them out and see how Tim has done. And then, hey, maybe I'll try that on the floor too. So it's a great way to check things out before you invest your own money.
Tim, thank you. And to close this off, I have to say, and now with it being over, and as a creator, you think you would pay a little bit more attention to certain things, and maybe 2 minutes into this, maybe I would have went and checked to make sure that, even though I do trust this microphone, that maybe it was working, that it sounded right. But we're just gonna rock with it, and that's what makes it so good. Tim, thank you very much for being the first interview, and now making this interview as special as the first one was, and making this relationship just grow, every single day, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you, as always, with everything, top to bottom.
Well, hey, it's been great to do the interview, and of course, I'm honored to be choice number one. And as always, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, man.
Lots more to come for you guys, I promise you. And maybe I'll even give you some outtakes if I get this guy sleep deprived enough. But thank you, Tim. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. I really hope you enjoyed it. I apologize for the technical issues. We'll get better as we go with anything. I was going to say let's spin, let's win, because that's usually, like how I close out something. But thank you all, guys. I hope you loved it. I hope you liked this stuff. I'm going to bring you some of the best creators in this space and have them give you stuff that maybe they haven't given to you before. So thank you all. I appreciate you. Have a good night.